Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Imperfect Marketing. I'm your host, Kendra Corman, and today I am super excited to be joined by Adrian Moreno. He began his career in the health and fitness space while gaining unparalleled experience with hypnosis and NLP. He established himself as a respected transformation specialist through the power of hypnotherapy. Going against what his mentors taught, Adrian spent his marketing efforts pitching and getting booked on top podcasts and grew his company to $250,000 in only 12 months. Now he spends his time teaching other coaches, course creators, content creators how to do the same thing. And when you don't find him writing and reading or watching The Office, that is what he's busy doing. And then, of course, building his email list, which is what we're going to be
Through
talking about
podcasting.
today.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Building it through podcasting, which was how it basically all started.
So, talk to me about how it all started because I am a big fan of email marketing, and my email marketing started long before my podcast did. And so I did a little bit of a reverse journey there.
Yeah, no, for me
So,
it was so I have a very interesting entrepreneurial journey in terms of just, building businesses and then realizing, oh, I like this, aspect of it. In other words, I was building my fitness business and that led me to hypnotherapy because, you're helping people lose weight. And it's like, well, I realized if I can help you change your mind, then I can help you lose weight a lot easier. And so I got into that space. And when I got into the hypnotherapy space, I had this one experience where, one of my clients, she loved my work. She invited me to go speak to her clients on a Zoom call. So I was like, all right, cool. There's like 13 people there. And at the time I was struggling. I was probably making like $5,000 a month and it was like a hard time for me. And so I went and I did this talk. And I say that for context because after the talk, there was 13 people live. After the talk, 3 of them reached out to me and were like, how can we work with you? And they all paid in full. And I charged $5,000 as a hypnotherapist. So I made $15,000 from this talk. And at this moment, and I desperately needed that money at the time. And at this time, I decided to kind of pause and say, well, I've never closed 15 grand in a day. And I've also never closed clients that easy. Like these people had no objections, no like anything, and they paid in full. And so I was like, okay, if I can find out what just happened here, hopefully I can duplicate that, maybe. And so I started thinking about, okay, what's the epiphany in this experience? And for me, that's when I realized, oh, instead of marketing directly to your buyers, why don't you market to the people who already have the trust of your buyers and then just get endorsed by them? Because when that happens, it's just like, the path from from hearing about you the first time to giving you money is a lot shorter whenever you're endorsed by somebody that they already trust and respect. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, well, let me start getting booked on all these podcasts because a podcast is kind of like a mastermind. There's a host, a trusted leader, and the audience, the followers. I was like, so, you know, um, I should be able to get the same kind of experience by doing that. And so I started getting booked on all these podcasts, and I learned this, really interesting way of getting booked on podcasts. And my big way of doing it was through video instead of email podcast. It was video pitch. I mean, instead of email pitches, they were video pitches. And then I find myself getting booked on all these podcasts. And then out of nowhere, one day I woke up and I realized after about 13, 14 months of doing this that I had 2,800 people on my email list. And they all joined me from these lead magnets that I was giving out on these podcasts. And so here I was I was doing better. I was making more money, but I, of course, wanted more and I wanted things to work better. And one day I'm sitting there looking at that email list, those contact lists of 2,800 people. And I think, I'm not emailing these people at all. I was like, I maybe had an autoresponder going for 3 or 4 days, but there's nothing going on. So maybe there's money here. Maybe I can do something here and start making money with this email list. And so that's what I started doing. One thing that I was really good at was copywriting. And another thing I was really good at was hypnotizing people. And so when you understand how to write emails in a way that create a experience as opposed to emails that you read. There's emails that you read and there's emails that you experience. And so for me, all change comes through what you experience in life. It's not about like reading stuff and you change it like that. You actually got to do things to change. And so I started applying this principle of creating experiences when people read, and just everything I knew about copywriting, right? Like, you want to capture their attention and then, hook it with something and then pitch them. And so I just kept the copywriting basics in the back of my mind, and I started writing these really the first email I sent to this list was, "Hey, are you still interested in rewiring your brain?" It was something mad corny like that, but I sent it to him, and then like 50 something people responded yes, and I was like, okay, well, we got something working here. And so I basically just started emailing these people every day, and then before I knew it, I was making a lot of money from emailing this small list of contacts, and that's when I realized, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hypnotherapy and being a hypnotherapist was like, it was cool and all, but I was doing about 6 to 8 hours of sessions a day. That's about 5 days a week. And also having to run the business and market and all of that. And so I realized very quickly that I just like freedom I just like freedom. I'm like, I'm not about having a colossal business to where I have to do a lot of stuff. I'm like, I'd rather make great money and kind of live like a bum, like not really do a lot of stuff right now. Like, this is the only thing on my calendar today, literally. But so when I realized like that's more of my style and my values was like, I just like to be with my family, because when I'm free, I like to just hang out with my brothers and my dad all the time. Like I love hanging out with my family, and so I started focusing more on the email side of things. I wrote an article on it, and then it blew up. And then I realized I had something in the email space. I was like, okay, people love this article. Maybe I can make this a course or something and see what happens. So I kind of just pivoted, started talking to my email list differently, and brought them all over. And then I ended up in this world. And now I'm knee deep in it, neck deep. And I really do love it. But so, yeah, that's the kind of story about how I ended up getting into email. It was all kind of by accident, just trying to figure things out. And just realizing email was the best way to communicate with your audience, as opposed to, I love podcasting, but it's easier than that. I love Facebook. It's easier than that. Instagram is dope, but it's easier than that. And like, it's better. And so I was just like, well, let me just focus all my time on this then. And so I kind of let go of everything, literally, and I only focus on email now. But that's how I got here.
That's great. So, I have always been a fan of email marketing because I've seen it work from like day one when I was the Jeep advertising manager.
Exactly. Day one stuff.
Yeah, we sent emails and they worked. And I watched crazy email results when I was the marketing director at HW Kaufman Group, which is an insurance wholesaler. We
Oh,
had the
interesting.
email addresses of all of our customers, all of our clients, because they were other insurance agents. And we had all of their emails. So whenever we would send an email, we got business.
And there's
One
a good
email
lesson here.
equal business, like
Yes.
every
It's
day.
like
It didn't even
clockwork.
matter if it was about the
Yes.
same topic. It was just really about staying top of mind. Email is so powerful, so
And there's a
powerful.
good list. There's a to interject here, because there is an important lesson in what you just said. You said we had our customers' email addresses, but and this is what I specifically realizing. This is what I specifically realized in the coaching and consulting space is we're enamored with promote through ads and social media content. It's just like we've indoctrinated an entire generation of entrepreneurs into believing that is the best optimal way to do it. And I know all these people from all these masterminds that I've been in, and I'm like, hey, do you email people? And they're like, no. I'm like, how big is your list? Oh, 15,000, 10,000. I'm like, you have at least $1 million right there if you just do it right. But this is one of those things that's like right under our nose. And so I just wanted to point that out, because I guarantee there's people listening who have a database of contacts that they see as a second thought, and they see as something that's just, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. And I just noticed people put email on the back burner because it's seen as a not effective thing. But the reality is, across every industry you can imagine, email is the highest converting channel. And there's a big reason for it. I mean, it's a dinosaur for a reason, because it works.
Right? It works. And well,
Absolutely.
I think an interesting thing is that we've indoctrinated people to think that, social media is like the end all be all. All I have to do is just go viral. And it's like, no, because
Not at all.
people deal with your social media when they have time to deal with your social media. The whole goal of social media and advertising on social media is to get people to join your email list. That
That
isn't.
should be the goal. That should be
Yeah.
the goal. But for a lot of people, it's not. And here's another
No.
thing. I have a friend who had 365 followers. He was making about 40 grand a month straight off of his Instagram following, just posting stories, CTAs, content with comment below this if you're interested, like just regular stuff. Making really good money for about 18 months. It was like going pretty, he was sustainable, he thought. And then one day he woke up and he couldn't access his account. His account got completely wiped out. And so he starts talking to me, worried, and I ask him the $1 million question. I'm like, how big is your email list? He collected 200 contacts over all that time because he did not promote lead magnets. And if he promoted lead magnets, it was just to start DM conversations. It wasn't to actually get in there and get them in your list. And so the lesson here is that you don't control what happens on social media, because that is Mark Zuckerberg's land. That is his real estate. That's his world. Any day he can treat you like a booger and flick you away, no matter how big your account is. And so if you're building a business based off of social media, you're building a business based off of something that's not even yours. It's just like people who are running TikTok agencies right now. Like, they're probably pretty scared because the chance is still there that the US will no longer serve TikTok. Like, the chance is still there. And so imagine if you have a TikTok agency, you built a business off of the back of another company. Anytime you do that, like, you're a three-legged chair that should be a four-legged chair. And so that's another big lesson, is like, an email list is your land, that's your real estate, no matter what happens. And here's a tip: download your CSV file at the end of every single day. Because wait, what if one day for some reason Active Campaign just wiped out? I would hate if all my database was gone. So every day, one of the last things that I do is I download my CSV file. So even if I did lose Active Campaign for some reason, I got this list that nobody can take from me, and it's rightfully mine. And so, if you want to build a business based off of your contacts, and not,
Yeah.
Zuckies.
You own your contacts. Email, social media is rented. You're
Rented.
borrowing that space, that reach, that technology
So
from
you want to
somebody
own them as soon
else.
as you can.
Yeah, exactly. So the goal is to get people to sign up for your emails, but never ask them to sign up for your emails. Tell them what value you're going to
Yes,
give them.
no,
That's
that's actually
key.
another thing. Never just say, "Hey," "Hey, if you want to sign up to my email list, comment below." Nobody wants to
No,
read emails. Nobody on this
nobody.
planet wakes up and I'm an email buffoon, and I don't even wake up thinking, "Oh, I can't wait to read my emails." No, it just doesn't happen. And so that's another thing. Is like, people don't want to read emails. People want experiences again, and so that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to. And of course, being valuable, offering them something. Hey, join my email list, and I'll show you how to do this, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
typical
Yep.
stuff, but still important.
Nobody wants any more email, right?
Not at
They
all. No,
all they, but they do want the value you provide. And that's the
exactly.
key there. So let's start talking a little bit about some of the misconceptions of email marketing. We talked about one of the misconceptions, which is email marketing is dead. It's
Yeah,
not.
exactly. It's not very
We covered
alive.
that
It's
one.
very alive. It's very, like, so. Okay, so the biggest, I would say, well, number one is, let's actually address this. People don't want to read emails. Okay, so it's true in a way, but it still is misleading, because if you believe people don't want to read emails, you're going to have the next natural thought of thinking, well, why write emails? Now, here's a quick story to demonstrate my point. My cousin Marco, I've been a reader. I've been like an avid reader for maybe like 7 years now. These whole 7 years, my cousin Marco is like, we're like this. And so I'm always trying to get him to grow. And so I'm like, bro, check out this book, check out this book, check out this book. He never wants to read them. He's just like, nah, I don't read. And so one day I bought a book about the rapper Prodigy, which is one half of the infamous rap group Mobb Deep. And so my cousin Marco is a hip hop, like, his room is like, he has every poster you can imagine of he's like super deep in a rap. And so I bought this book and I was like, hey, I got this book on Prodigy, and he loves Mobb Deep. And I was like, check it out. It's Prodigy just sharing his life. He was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. And he texted me maybe about 6 weeks after, and he read 3 books since then, all about rappers that he loved. And so all of a sudden he became a reader. And the point of this story is it's not about, oh, people want to read emails. It's about people want to read something they are interested in. My cousin he did not care about reading books, but he did care about learning the life experiences of his favorite artists. And so if he joined an email list with somebody who was just telling stories about rappers, he would devour it every single day. So the point is that you don't write emails to write emails. You write emails to appeal to the deepest desires of the people that are reading your stuff. So again, yeah, you're right. People don't want to read emails, but people absolutely do want to learn how to solve their problems. They absolutely do want to learn how to increase their reputation. They absolutely, and their status. They want these things. And so I have people who never read an email before say, Adrian, I've read your email every day this year. Like every day this year, I've read what you said. And not because they love emails, simply because they love what I have to say, right? And I'm not just writing emails, I'm writing, emails that are very interesting. And so that's the point. That's one big misconception.
Well, and I think that
And
something really just to really reiterate and point out is, yeah, people aren't just going to join your email list because nobody is clamoring for another email.
at
It's
all.
about the value you provide. That's what
Absolutely.
it's not join my email list. It's hey, do you want this value? And then they're like, why, yes, I do, because that solves the problem that I have.
Exactly. Exactly. So, for example, at the end of this, I'm going to help you build your email list, which is a problem you may have. But I'm not saying, join my list. I'm saying, hey, go here and I help you build your list, but you got to give me your email to do it. And so that is an important thing. Now, another misconception is that people get bothered by too many emails. So I email once to twice a day. On launch periods, I'm emailing about on average 4 to 9 times a day on a launch period. My unsubscribe rate is extremely low. Yes, I mean, like people do unsubscribe on every email, absolutely. But the reality is my net growth always beats whatever I'm losing. But the thing is this: is people will only get annoyed if you annoy them. So how you annoy them is by being like everybody else in your inbox. If your subject lines are new, like 20% off, new deal, new offer, last chance. Like if your emails here's a big thing. If your emails sound like they came from a company, they're going to fall dead in the water. Your email should not say we. Your email should not say our organization. Your email should not be written in a way where it's corporate. And people don't like that. Like I do not like getting an email from Domino's Pizza when it's like you open it and it's like graphics all over the place. Like I don't like that. And they send me 3 emails in a day. Damn right I unsubscribe, right? Because I don't want that. So your emails, the thing is the first trick is you got to tell them you're going to mail them a lot. So on day one, when somebody joins your list, we only get mad if somebody does something that they didn't tell us they were about to do. But if they do something that we did tell them we're going to do, yeah, they may not be a fan of it, but they do respect it. And so on email one, my very first email on the bottom, it says, hey, just so you know, I was diagnosed with a very serious illness. I can't stop writing emails, and that's my illness. I just keep writing. And so for the rest of your life, as long as you're on my list, you were here for me. And guess what? I'm also going to pitch you every day. And I'm also like, I have a lot of things to sell you. And just realize, I want you to know that I'm a marketer and you will be marketed to. And yeah, some people are going to get, no, I don't like that, and unsubscribe. Guess what? They were never going to buy from me. I don't care. But the people who stick on, they're expecting to wake up and see Adrian Moreno in their inbox. So that's another thing. You can email as many times as you want, as long as your emails are actually good. But then also fill your list out. Like I would not email my list 5 times a day for every single day in the year. I'm gonna email them once a day at least. But for campaigns, email them more frequently. But when you're not running a very big, like a specific campaign, dial it back a bit. But stay aware. Do not disappear and email only once a week. Here's the thing about that. If you email less frequently, you also are seen less, and which means you remember less. I've had people who bought at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning because my name is so ingrained in their subconscious that they literally wake up thinking about me. and not thinking about me, but thinking about my offer and realizing, oh, Adrian sells that. I need to go buy that. And literally opening up an email. And that's a real story. Since I woke up and I was like, damn, I didn't get the workshop. I think it's about a deadline. And they woke up, got the credit card out at 2 or 3 in the morning to buy my stuff. And so the more frequent you are, the more ingrained you become in their mind. And so you want to mail a lot. You don't want to be somebody who doesn't mail a lot. And so that's like another big misconception there that I would say about email. And also that don't pitch in every email. People say don't pitch in every email. I honestly think that's dumb. If you don't want to make money every day, I want to make money every day. And so I pitch in every single email. It's not that pitching is not what pisses people off. It's how it's done. And so again, if you have, hey, excited to announce that we're releasing our brand new program where you get bam, bam, bam. People are not going to like that. Even if you use one of those corny templates, are you struggling? Oh my God, I can't stand that. But are you struggling to do XYZ, XYZ? If so, I mean, no worries. I was too until I did this. And if you want to do the same thing, this. If it reeks of marketing, you lost. And so the email literally has to be like from a friend. Like yesterday, the email I sent to my list said liberals, Gen Z crybabies, and Eminem. And not in that order. That's what my email said yesterday. That does not come off like a marketing email. To them, that comes off like a news story. And so the key is to clothe your pitches in an entertaining way. And if you can clothe your pitches in this style of entertainment, people will foam at the mouth until you email them again. They're going to want your emails again and again and again. I've had times where if I don't email by 2 o'clock, I get 2 or 3 emails. Hey, where's the email for today? You know what I mean? And so it gets to a point where people will want to hear from you. But again, your emails they can't smell like a pitch. They have to actually seem like it's an email from a friend, just an interesting story. It has to be Russell Brunson says 80% entertaining. I think it has to be 99% entertaining and 1% pitch. And when you can get to that ratio, people will want your pitches every day. And even they will open your email, even if they know you're going to pitch them the same product you pitched them yesterday, they'll still open your email just to read what you have to say.
Yeah. No, and interesting emails that are conversational always win. I get a couple of emails that are daily that I look forward to. Like I know what I'm looking for. I do not email more. Well, I shouldn't say that. My usual cadence is once a week. And then during certain seasons, I'm twice a week. And then if they sign up for the extra emails, and then when I'm selling something, then yes, it's daily to multiple times a day. So I get it because it is about top of mind. And then again, that's the difference between social media and email marketing is that people are only seeing your social posts when they're online.
Yeah. And
People
only
are checking their
5% of your feed.
emails all the time, right?
Yes.
And I mean, what is it? 92% of all mobile users get their email on their phone and
Yeah.
look at it multiple
Mhm.
times a
And
day,
here's the
something
thing you also
crazy.
got to keep in mind is that less than so if you're a good account, like you got a lot of engagement, it's a good account, about 5% of your list, 5% of your audience will see your content daily if you're posting daily. But if you're like most people and your account's not like popping, you're getting about 2% of your audience seeing your
Mhm.
actual content daily. If you're posting daily, if you're posting less than daily, it goes less. The algorithm likes more use. But when you send an email, on average, 20% are going to open the email. Um, but on average, most people's deliverability does suck. It's about 48%. But on average, at least 48% will see the email. And then out of that, 20% of them will open the email. But the stats are still on your side, right? There's a lot of things you can do to get, 99 deliverability and then percent deliverability and then, 50% open rates. There's a lot of things you can do to get that. But even if you're not optimizing anything and you're just kind of coasting with your list, but at least being there all the time, you will get a good amount of opens and you're going to get more people looking at your stuff. And also the emails feel more intimate than social media. Social media is one to many. People can feel that. They feel the one to many. But when it's an email, it's one to one and people can feel that. And when do people buy? Typically in settings of one to one. And so that's what you want, right? You want to create that experience. And another thing is people do things people tend to do more things when they think nobody's watching them. So on social media, we tend to not take as many actions. Like we'll not, like for example, if somebody says, "Hey, if you want this thing, comment below," and there's 50 people, and if you want that thing, there's still a chance that you won't do it because you don't want other people to see what you're doing. And so we have this weird wall that we don't do everything we actually would do in real life on social media. But when we're in the email and you're opening an email and you're reading it by yourself, it's kind of like you're in your closet doing your thing. You're gonna whip your credit card out. Nobody's watching. And so you create this experience that just feels more intimate. And the reality is when you feel connected with a person, you are more likely to spend money with that person as opposed to anything else. And so it's another like psychological effect benefit of sending emails is people will truly think that they're your friend, and they should. I mean, I don't say friend, more like, hey, I respect and I follow you because you teach me stuff, but they should feel kinship, and daily email. Not, I am gonna say daily. I do beat the drum of daily. I believe in it. It's different, and when I say different, most people don't do daily. So when you do daily, automatically you're different. And also think about this. If you joined a business coach's email list and one emailed you twice a week and one emailed you once or twice a day, which one do you see as the leader? The one who's showing up more because they simply have more to say. So if you have more to say, people will just automatically think. Another thing about emails, it builds this like perception of fame. It's like, oh, you're famous. It builds an interesting perception of fame. And every business owner, trust me, if you're famous, you will sell more stuff. And so fame really helps. And if you want to build a level of fame in your niche, daily emails is a great way to do that because it's just this constant, because one of the elements of fame is consistent presence. The more present you are, the more famous you are. And so it's why, you want to be consistent with it. And people think Adrian Moreno, like I've had customers cry if I called them because one of the things I do is I call customers and like I try to upsell them stuff. But like I called a customer and he like teared up because he was like, "Oh my God, I'm like talking to you," and I was like, that was odd. But he's been reading my emails for over 2 years. And so those it does create these experiences of fame, which is also another thing in your, another weapon in your toolbox to keep winning.
Yeah. No, and I'm a big fan of email marketing. I believe that it keeps you top of mind and that it's extremely important. And I think that the frequency depends on you, your business, and your audience as to what they
Yeah.
have um a threshold for, because there are
And
daily emails that I look forward to.
yeah,
And
there's
I do
people
not
who,
unsubscribe from them. I look forward to those daily emails and I'm good with that.
as long
So
as
I
they're
think that there's
relevant, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. So we're almost out of time. So before we wrap this up and I let you go, I do want to ask you the one question that I ask everybody. And that is, this show's called Imperfect Marketing because marketing is anything but a perfect science. What
Absolutely.
has been your biggest marketing lesson learned?
I would say the biggest marketing lesson that I have learned is that people are in their mind, and your job is to get them out of that. And what I mean by that is, like everybody talks about having an irresistible offer, but there's a quick story. There was a video, a prank I saw on YouTube where a guy was walking around with $100 bill saying, "Hey, do you want to buy this $100 bill for $1?" Everybody was saying no because they thought there was a catch and it was like weird. And I'm like, isn't that an irresistible offer? But the reason they say yes is because they were too busy in their own mind. They're thinking about yesterday, tomorrow, their pains, their troubles, their desires, this, and this. So they were too busy in their mind. So you got to get them out of that. And the way you get them out of that is by painting pictures through stories, because stories automatically make your mind just kind of completely open. Like there's a reason Jesus told parables. Parables. There's a reason why Buddha told parables. There's a reason why all these spiritual masters don't just scream like, "Hey, this is it, this is it, this is it." They tell stories and parables because it actually helps you get it. And so spend time getting people out of their mind before you get them into your offer, and you'll win a lot more with that.
Oh, that's great. I love that lesson because it's so true. Stories sell, Stories engage and stories build relationships, which is very
Absolutely.
important to keep in mind, especially if you're emailing on a regular basis, because stories are key. That's why I have
Absolutely.
guests on my podcast regularly, because you get
Of
different
course.
perspectives and different stories, which is all good. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you guys all for tuning in to another episode of Imperfect Marketing. If you learned something today, I would love it if you would rate and subscribe wherever you're listening. And be sure to check the show notes for some great email marketing resources from Adrian and, of course, myself, so that way you can take your email game to the next level, because it is not dead. All right. And you need to be doing it. Thanks again so much. Have a
Thanks
great
for
rest
having
of
me.
your day.